Coach, how would you assess where you all are right now? Would you say you all are ahead of schedule, behind schedule, or right where you think you should be at this time?
Yeah, I feel pretty good where we're at right now. We're still in the middle of the installation phase. We're almost to the end of it. So I feel pretty good about where we're at. These last few practices have been awesome because we've done a lot more like not scripted practices. So, Fluke's done a great job of throwing different situations at the guys and us substituting from the sideline and the crowd noise, with the music and everything. All that stuff. With the young team, we can't do that stuff enough. So I feel all that operational stuff's got to improve, but I feel pretty good about where we're at right now.
How do you help Justin cope with the ups and downs that we see out there on the field, knowing that he's in a system that he's just learning, but also that his own expectations for himself are sky high?
Yeah, no, sure. This is a process, right? And we stress every single day that we're a process-driven team, and our unit's the same way. And it's all about making sure that we get better every single day. So whether the focus is on getting better at our protection adjustments, or our hot adjustments, or throwing hot routes, or whatever like that, whatever that adjustment is, or whatever that emphasis of the day is, we just got to make sure that we're getting better at it. And then the situational stuff is he can't get enough of that. You talk about what makes the great quarterbacks great. It's just that experience in dealing with all the different situations and understanding them, and also, part of that growth. You take walkthroughs that we have at night. We just go through situations and stuff, and you can see them showing up when we get out there on the field and practice.
When you look at Cole Kmet right now, what do you see when you compare the Cole Kmet that you have on the field right now versus the film that you would have analyzed when you came in? What do you see that he's added?
I think Cole is still young in his career, and he has a lot of really cool tools. I think he's starting to learn how to use them. I think you talk about a guy that we hope can do a lot of different things. We've lined him up wide. We let him do some routes outside. We brought him in tight. We put him in line and making him, block the big boys up front too. And I think the cool part about him is that he can do all that stuff really well. He's got to get better at just about everything, because I think he's on the brink right now of taking his game to another level. So I'm hopeful that by the time we get through this camp, he's ready to be a rock star for us, because we're going to need him to be.
Where are you in terms of assessing your options for that starting offensive line, and do you see yourself kind of getting closer to solidifying the group you might want to see out there?
No. I think we're still a ways away for a lot of positions, to be honest with you, and that's one of them. We've flipped guys from right to left and up front, and we're trying to see whatever combination makes the most sense and which guys are most flexible for us. So we got a lot of information still to find out. This has been a really good week for us, though. You talk about some guys that have stepped up, and how they're going to react when there's pads in the run game. That's the biggest part. I think that they've done a lot of really good things. So this was a great practice for us too, because this was the first time we challenged them conditioning wise. We really went at it today, and I thought that was a really good thing. As we watch the film, that'll be something I'm going to pay attention to see who was, who lost their focus, who lost their discipline, and all that stuff when they got challenged today.
Luke, when Tevin Jenkins is healthy and back on the field for you, where does he fit?
Yeah, he's going to get thrown right into the mix of this competition at the tackles too. That's the. Yeah, this is an open right, left, whatever. We're trying to find the best five. So when he gets back, he's someone who's super talented that should jump in there, and hopefully he takes advantage of the opportunities he's going to get.
Is there a role he can work on outside of that? If those spots become solidified, then Tevin would be vying for what?
No, he should be vying for a starting spot right now. 2 or 3 weeks from now we can have that conversation, but he should be doing everything he can to own one of those two spots. There's no question about that.
Coach, we have competition in wide receiver has been wide open, especially behind Darnell Mooney. Who have you seen step up in the last couple weeks of camp?
Everyone's had a day here and there. It's been fun. Velas the other day did a lot of really cool things for us, and EQ. He's been doing a really nice job. Byron, all the guys. Really, I've been really impressed with the way these guys have attacked the days. Now we're not good enough at any of those positions, and including Mooney, and so we got a lot of work to do there. But I've been really impressed with their approach. We put a lot on them. I told you guys that before. We put a lot on these guys. And Nikhil's come in here and he's done a great job of us being able to move him in different positions and put him in different spots. And so now with the pads on, and they got to go in and get dirty. It's part of our offense is that receivers got to go get dirty, and these guys have shown they're willing to do it.
Like,
What are you most eager to see in Justin when you guys play against, another team in 8 days?
Yeah, no, it's playing the position and being, like I said, it's the process-oriented thing. It's going up and it's making sure that you have a process. When you break the huddle, you have a process. You got to go through that process and be disciplined to that process. Train your eyes, and then each play tells you to do something. Your eyes supposed to go somewhere with each play, and so we're getting better every single day. And I want to see him go execute that, right? And we start everything with taking care of the football, and that's got to be the priority.
We are from German television. Equinemius St. Brown had a hard time in Green Bay, I think, with the injuries and a lot of stuff. You know him good. What do you think about his development until today, his way to Chicago, and his performance right now and his future in the league?
Yeah, really excited about EQ. Like I told these guys last time we were in here, I'm excited about his leadership role that he's taken on. He's really owned that, the toughness that he brings every single day, and I thought last year was a huge year for him, and where he took a big step in that direction, where he became a pro's pro, and he work ethic, no job's too small, and it's been cool to see him here. Up in Green Bay, he had a lot of really good football players around him that had a lot of experience, right? And talk about Devontae Adams in the room. And then now, him being a little bit of the vet, he stepped in that role as far as taking ownership of that room. So it's been really fun to see him take that role.
with Ryan.
You ran a lot today against scout team defense. What's your thought process on mixing that in, maybe for this practice or at this stage at camp?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is we got two teams in our division that play a 3-down, and our defense doesn't. So that's really the biggest thing, that when you're talking about the big guys up front, everything changes in your rules and assignments when you have 3 downs. So you got to mix that in. If we were the other way, if we had a 3-down defense, we'd have to scout team some 4-down stuff. So
With Riley Reef playing more at right, the last couple team practices, or during the team period, last couple practices, is that a byproduct of just kind of like he played that last year, it's where he's more comfortable right now? Like, what do you like about him at that spot versus getting him more reps at left tackle?
yeah, it's the same thought process, to be honest with you. We're letting guys have every opportunity at every side of the ball. So left guards to right guards, and right guards to left guards, and left tackles to right tackles, and we're trying to find the 5 best, what makes the most sense. And Riley started off the first week on the left, and now he's been hanging out on the right, and obviously with Tevin, who was going to be in that position, he being injured and everything like that, to this point, it was an opportunity for Riley to get good quality reps on the right too. So none of that is solidified for sure. We're going to keep fighting through that, and you'll probably see different combinations as we go through the preseason until we feel really good about where we're at.
Do you need to see more chunk plays from the passing game? I know a lot of what you did today was in the red zone maybe, but I think it's fair to say, especially the first team, we haven't seen a lot of balls that have gone downfield completed.
I would challenge that. I think we've done a pretty good job as far, and maybe it's within the situation. That's why I don't think that. Situationally, we've done a pretty good job of getting this ball down the field. I'm a big believer in that. You have to do that, and that'll be a part of our game, regardless if we're good at it or not. You got to do it, and so I feel like we've done a pretty good job. We got to execute maybe a little bit better. There's been times that we didn't execute or finish the play off the way we should, for sure. But I feel pretty good about where we're at, just in that regard.
With that line, I know it's early. Last couple of days, though, the vets other than Jones are getting more runs with the one. Is there a coaching dilemma of needing the security of the veteran presence up there to help develop Justin versus being willing to take some chances with the kids that live with some mistakes?
Are you just talking about Justin and wishing he was a veteran, or you're just saying other people?
No, I'm just saying with Justin's development as part of the equation, is there any dilemma needing the security of veterans in front of him as opposed to taking some chances with kids?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. This is where we were in the spring to where we're at right now, way ahead of, they've done a great job to get to where we're at. Now the next 3 weeks we got to take it to another level, and that's part of Justin's development, that he's going to kind of lead that thing, right? And you can see them processing everything so much faster and so much better. I mean, today he had 3 or 4 plays that were really, really impressive plays, and the way he progressed through it, like getting all the way back to a 4th in your progression, they were really cool plays today. So that was fun to see, and I think, like I said before, the challenge that we all have is that when we got deep, that was a deep practice with a lot of plays. I think our guys got a little tired towards the end of that thing, and the execution kind of fell off. But I thought the where we were that first half of the practice, that's where we got to go. That was really good. I was impressed with it.
How unique of a situation is it to have a wide receiver competition, at least from where I sit? And what are the pros and cons of it, where you have a cluster of guys who could be your number 2 receiver or could not make the roster?
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, yeah, we'd all love to sit here and say we had everything solidified and you were just sharpening all your tools and everything like that, sure. But we're in the phase of starting something special here. And these guys have bought into the right mindset, and the competition brings out the best in all those guys. So you can see these guys working their butts off and pushing themselves and buying into the philosophy of the style of play that we're going to play. And, that mindset and getting nasty, getting physical is a big part of it. And I've been very impressed with these guys getting after it that way. But the competition part of it, I love every bit of it because it makes all of us better.
Do you agree with that assessment, though, that there's a cluster of guys who could be number 2 or not make this team?
I just haven't honestly thought of it in that regard yet. Like we're trying to get everybody better and finding out what everybody does really well and then sharpening those tools as much as we can. I think everyone, Mooney's been here the longest, right? So he's the easiest for everyone in this building to kind of dial in on, right? But these other guys have a lot of special tools, and so we're just trying to tap in to see what makes sense with what our O-line can do, what Justin can do, and all that stuff that's going to play into all that.
It sounds like you believe that. We talked to Justin the other day about how he deals with practices that aren't up to his standards. How have you seen him handle a bad day and bounce back from it?
No, he's a competitive dude, man. I mean, you get in that film room and you can see the hunger, you can see the fight, and he, and that's part of our job is to make sure he has clarity through all that. He has that competitive edge that you need to play in this league, and especially at this position. And so we just want to make sure we finish those meetings. There's clarity in where he can progress, where he can get progressively better.
In what ways do you see the hunger in the fight when you see him? Is it just the amount of time he spends watching film? Is it just what he talks about while he's doing it?
Yeah, it's the intent, it's the passion that you can just feel from someone when you're sitting in a room with them and you're talking through your responsibilities, and it's not like Justin is this outspoken guy that makes everybody let him know what he's saying, right? But he lets you feel what he's feeling, and he lets you communicates really well in that room. And so where he's going, I feel really good about where he can grow as the leader of this football team.
Do you sense that like with him though, and I know he's talked to us about embracing failure because he's using it as like a launch point for himself. Do you sense that he almost like carries a burden though of like the offense isn't exactly where I, as the quarterback, the leader of this group, needs it to be? So he maybe internalizes and takes on more of that responsibility? I don't because I don't think he feels that way. I think he feels like we're getting better. I think we all do. I think we're getting better every single day, and it shows up when we watch the film. We can see how close we are, but being close isn't good enough. And so he has that competitive edge to where he's trying to help the teammates along. But by no means do I feel like that he has any of that going on inside internally.
When the pads went on, what did Braxton Jones show you?
Yeah, I think Braxton was a guy that obviously super athletic kid that we were excited about after spring ball, and then you get into the pads and there was zero intimidation. I mean, going against Robert Quinn, your very first, one-on-one pass rush, right? That's an intimidating thing, and he stepped up and did a great job, and he's answered the bell. So he's done a really nice job for us.
Is Tevin in the meetings, and is he an active participant where you can get a good feel for where he's at?
Oh yeah. Tevin's been great. He's been attentive. He's all in. Yeah. Once he gets through this deal, he'll be back out there ready to rock and roll.
And finally, Aaron Rodgers taking psychedelics. Did you have any idea? Were you ever invited?
I was not invited on those trips. I didn't know all that stuff. That was and I haven't watched that yet. But I've been informed by a lot of people about all that stuff. So hey, whatever it takes, I guess.
Would you like to be invited on those?